hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. A pleasure to have you here on the red carpet.
Thank you.
So after success you had with the Imitation Game, what made you decide to start directing, and why this story?
In a lot of ways, this story was a tribute to my grandfather, who was the kindest, gentlest man I'd ever known. And yet, as a small-town doctor, one of his patients was the notorious mobster Jerry Katina, and I was always fascinated by this. What's it like to be a decent person working in the service of vicious killers? And that's what our film is about. It's about a kind, mild-mannered tailor who's making clothes for a group of vicious killers.
And what an incredible cast you have, kind of an ensemble cast, but ultimately Mark Rylance is center. What makes him stand out so much as an actor?
Mark Rylance is able to do more with less than any other human being I've ever seen in my life. He is such a tremendous poet of the small. I mean, everything he does is like a sort of precious little haiku. You know, we found quickly when we were shooting that I write half a page of dialogue and Mark can do more with one little flick of his eyebrow than I could with any number of words.
And the rest of the cast, I love Johnny Flynn, but Nikki as well. She was telling me earlier how she felt like it was such a brave decision that you chose not only a woman but a black woman to play that part. So tell us about the rest of the cast.
Everyone in this cast is just some of my favorite actors in the world. I felt so lucky that even under these pandemic conditions, even amidst this difficult last year or two we've all had, I got to assemble, a small handful of some of my favorite actors in the world. Nikki Amuka-Bird, Johnny Flynn, Dylan O'Brien, Zoey Deutch, and just kind of put them in a room together and see what happens. When you're working with a cast like that, it makes my job tremendously easy because all I need to do is say action and not another word.
And you're constantly subverting expectations. It's all the people in the film that we're not expecting to act as they do by the end without giving up too much away. So was that an important aspect of the story?
It was, and as you're saying, a hard thing to talk about because so much gets revealed as the movie goes along. You know, we thought so much of the film like it's a suit of clothes. It's called The Outfit. It's about clothing. At every stage of the film, another layer of many of these characters gets removed, sometimes figuratively, sometimes literally, as we're learning who they really are. So that was part of the fun of it, to pass as many kind of twists and turns and revelations as possible in this very compact space and narrative.
And it's such an interesting mix of genres, specifically set in this very particular period. So what other kind of genres of films influenced you, and why are you so fascinated by 1950s Chicago?
I mean, I grew up in 1980s Chicago, which was a bit different, but still, this film is set, a mile from where I grew up, in the middle of Chicago. I love the town, I love its rich history, and so much of this film is about subverting the iconography of some of the classic American gangster films that we've seen. This is our kind of particular modern lens into the great 50s noir and thrillers that I grew up on. It was so exciting to get to put kind of our spin on this wonderful classic genre of mid-century filmmaking.
What do you ultimately hope that people will take away from watching it?
I think that The Outfit is in some ways a film about complicity. It's about someone who works in the service of monsters and decides that at some point he's had enough. And I think that's a lesson we can all learn, that there are monsters out there and we don't need to be complicit in their monstrosity.
How does it feel to have the film here at Berlin and for people to be able to watch it on the big screen? A film like this feels like it has to be on the big screen.
This was made to be seen on the big screen. I'm so excited to be a part of the Berlinale, to be here, to get to see the film with hundreds and hundreds of people in a room like this. If the past couple years of pandemic living have taught us anything, it's to be grateful that we get to have an experience like this, that we get to sit in a darkened room with a bunch of strangers and be transported into another world, because it's not a given that we get to do this, and everyone here tonight, me, you, we're lucky to be able to do that, and I feel most lucky.
Can you quickly tell us what you're going to work on next?
My dear friend Jonathan, with whom I co-wrote the script, and I are typing away on another script as we speak, but I can't talk about it yet because it changes every other day.
And what you're wearing tonight, could this have been made by the cutter? What are you saying about your own suit tonight?
I love the suit. I don't know if anyone can make suits as well as Mark Rylance can.
So lovely to speak to you. Enjoy the evening. Thank you so much. Cheers. Thank you.